Well, hello everybody, and welcome to episode number 2 of the Dragon Hybrid War. Today we will be talking about the first 4 submissions into the war, and then this topic will probably be pushed down for a while until I have another more than that submission to talk about in the next video. So today we'll be talking about Danny 23H's hybrid, we'll be talking about Sean Kelly's hybrid, and we'll be talking about Eddie's hybrid, and we'll be talking about a personal friend's hybrid that she submitted to me personally. So we're going to cover that, and we're going to talk about their probability to be able to actually beat Panic Trap, and I will set the terrain. There will be 3 different terrains. If they can win in at least 2 out of the 3 terrains, then they get to move on to the tournament part of this hybrid war. But first, before we talk about the actual hybrids that were submitted for this first round of ranking, I'm going to talk about the judging system because that was kind of just thrown out right now. So the judging system is 4 categories. Your hybrid needs to win 2 out of these 4 categories in order to move on to the tournament part of this hybrid war. The first category is the all-terrain. Now, these categories are not constrictions for your hybrid, but a constriction for my hybrid, since I technically broke my own rules by making Trap a semi-alpha. He is being constrained to that. So, the all-terrain is the most difficult for your hybrids, I can assume. It means that Trap can go into any terrain. He can be in the water, he can be on land, and he can be in the sky. If your hybrid can take him out, well, then you get 2 points automatically. But the other terrains are only 1 point. That being the water, sky, and land, respectively. This is when things are restricted for Trap. He can only walk on the land in the land category. He can only be in the sky category, and he can only be in the water category. So, if you have a speed stinger, a giant speed stinger that that has like super venom, this will be perfect for you. So he can't just camp in the sky and murder your hybrid from up there. So you have more creative freedom. I would suggest though that you try to aim for having, if you're not going to go for the all-rounder category, I would suggest, of course, if you're planning to have giant speed stinger, I would suggest making a water hybrid since he's less effective in the water. He's much more effective in the sky and on land. Anyways, now that yap session's over, let's talk about the first hybrid in this episode. First up are Danny 23H's hybrids. They are on screen right now. We're going to be talking about Indominus Fury first. Now, Danny, if you're watching this, please clarify in the comments because I might have understood what you were trying to say in your video. But these hybrids will not be going in the fight together. They will be a team of 5 each. So, this Indominus Fury has Night Fury as base, Indominus Rex for claws, Komodo Dragon for bacteria, and Eagle for wings. And there's a bunch of other stuff. Go watch his video, please. For the other hybrids, or for the other genome contributors, I'm sorry, I'm recording this very late at night. I'm not thinking straight. And this guy can grow from 8 to 18 feet tall. Unfortunately, Danny, this guy does not progress to the tournament part of this battle. It's not exactly well adapted for water, of course. You don't need to have that, but I'm just saying. And it's very, very small compared to this Alpha Dragon. There's not much Trap could do to hit it, since it's most likely smaller and more nimble than it. But there's not much it could do to Trap, since it's too small to really do anything effective. And unfortunately, I don't know if this next hybrid has a name, but this next pack of hybrids is even worse, unfortunately. They are, I think it was 1 to 3 feet tall. They have Night Fury as base and some other stuff. This is even less effective than than the Indominus Fury. I could give props to maybe getting a few scratches, but don't worry, Danny. Just you can use. I highly suggest using something like the Slum Ripper for size, for example. You can, of course, make another hybrid if you want to. Of course, I don't want to force this upon you, but these guys do not move on to the next part of this war. Next up is Eddie's hybrid. So the rest of these hybrids don't have images attached to them. That's not a requirement, of course. So I'm just going to leave their descriptions up here so you can read for yourself, and so I can get to the interesting part, the terrains that they won and how many points they got. So Eddie's hybrid here, the Armored Death, is a very I have to say this for such a small genome. This is a very effective way to deal with my hybrid, and I do really like it. So props to you, Eddie, specifically. Um, so for the all-rounder terrain, I'm going to give it to his hybrid, which already boosts him to the tournament part of this hybrid war. But I do also think they would win the the land terrain part of this judging system. Now, there is no stats like wingspan, height, weight, length, that kind of thing. So, Eddie, I'm just gonna ignore that. I'm gonna assume that they're like about the size of like the armor wing, since it's called the Armored Death. I'm just gonna assume about that size, but please, when you do have the time, could you make a stat sheet so I could properly judge this when it comes to the tournament part? Next up, we have Sean Kelly's Cobalt Coalition. Now, I'm assuming that's like the team name and not the actual hybrid names, because as you can see there, they have individual nicknames for each five. I don't know if there is a name for the actual dragon, but I'm gonna stop yapping and talk about the pillars or the categories that it won. Now, these guys are 100% winning the land and air, which means it already passes land and air categories, which means it already passes on to the tournament part of this hybrid war. Now, for the other two, it gets a little more tricky, since they aren't exactly built for for swimming, and trap it's built for at least living or at least lasting underwater for a decent amount of time. It could just grab them as they fly over and drag them into the water. But the all-rounder category, I would say they do win, since trap isn't exactly comfortable. I mean, it's comfortable in the water, but it's not really built for it. It can stay in the water for a bit, but it's not meant to stay in the water for a long amount of time. So it probably would just avoid going to the water unless it absolutely needed to, which means I would believe that for 4 out of 5 points, which is the most so far, but there's only been 4 submissions, still a decent achievement though. 4 out of 5 points have been given to this squad, which means it moves on to the tournament part of this hybrid war. Last but certainly not least is Team Hadelzone. Now, this is my real life friend's creation for this. I wouldn't really say to submission, but they did specifically make these hybrids to kill trap. So I'm just going to include it in here just in case they wanted me to put it in here. Now, this team is mainly centered towards being in the water, and that's really why I made the categories, so that you could have a land hybrid. And I know I've already said this, but I want to reiterate that if you want to make like a giant speed stinger, then yeah, go for it. This is purely why I wanted to make this like a category system, is so you can actually have like full creative freedom. Now, for the water, for obviously for the water part, it goes to Team Hadelzone. Now, I would say that might be where it ends, but since I haven't stated that these were going to be the categories before now, everybody kind of, I'm assuming, assumed that it would be an all-rounder for like just the overall fight. So, since this was purely created and the laurels are meant. I should have probably said that because it's not written down anywhere here, but there will be one jasper and two laurels if I remember correctly. I'm not 100% sure. But the two laurels were meant to lure Trap into the water and then have Jasper deal with Trap while he's in it. And just for that, purely, I will give it the all rounder category, which means it moves on to the tournament part. Land, since he can't get into the water, and Sky too, since he can't really get into the water. This team isn't very useful. I would hope. I mean, they could do something, but with the lack of Jasper being able to do anything, it would be very, very up to the Laurels to be able to actually kill Trap, and they are they are kind of small. So, yeah. Well, everybody, I hope you did enjoy that. I know it was just a lot of talking with not much going on screen, so I apologize. I will try and do something more interesting in next episode, and I'll try it. I've been trying to make content more entertaining, my content specifically more entertaining. So yeah, I'm gonna continue to work on that. But for now, this is where it ends. Bye.